I've probably tried thousands of different varieties of beers over the year, but the one that got me into craft beer, still love you, baby.
There's light at the end of the tunnel, and we got new breweries on the horizon. Things are looking up.
Indeed they are. We're at the Tannery Run Brew Works in Ambler, Joe Sixpack, Glen Macnow for What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Monco Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Download the app. By Visit Bucks County. We are open. Travel responsibly. Follow the Bucks County Ale Trail. Go to visitbuckscounty.com/ale trail to get your passport. By the Craft Beer Trail of Greater Philadelphia. 5 counties, 90+ breweries, and 1,000+ beers. And by Conshohocken Brewing Company, now shipping beer to all of Pennsylvania at ConchiExpress.com.
Hey, welcome to What's Brewing along with Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow. We're at the Tannery Run Brew Works on Butler Ave in Ambler. Great place here. Beautiful afternoon.
It is a great destination for folks because there are 3 other breweries right within walking distance of where we are.
Well, I like this one so far. I am having the Greater Crate Dragon. It's not just a double IPA. It's 2.5. Not a double, not a triple, but 2.5.
Fits right into that
And
niche.
it's a real juice bomb for me.
Great.
So I'm enjoying this.
One of my favorite styles is a dark mild.
Well, good for you. All right, so we don't normally start with our brew down. We're going to do that today because this is really 2 of the most popular craft beers out there. You go first. This is going to be our beer trade, too.
Okay, this is the Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. And this beer, we've talked about it a good bit on this show, and it's a pretty amazing phenomenon because this is, Bell's is a very good brewery. If you had told me 10 years ago what would be their #1 beer, I would never have picked this one because it was a great beer, but they were much better known for stout beers, not for their IPAs.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So this brewery, this beer rather, has won all kinds of awards. There you go, let me pass it that way. Named the best beer in America, I think 3 or 4 times now. It's way at the top of various lists, and that's
nice.
It's a really nice. You could drink this beer every day.
Yeah, it's easy. It's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it's not weak either. It's got something to it.
No, and it's it's a remarkable feat because it's made with just 1 hop. These days, craft beers are often made with a variety of hops for blending purposes. Bell's Two-Hearted is made only with Centennial hops, and it works.
I like it, and I could drink it all day. And by the way, you told me that the name is derived from an Ernest Hemingway novel. I did not know that.
Yeah, I believe it's where he was fishing on the Two-Hearted River at one time.
Well, that sounds
So,
about
yeah,
right.
Exactly.
All right, so I brought you what Bell's is going up against in our brew down, and also popular. This is the Stone IPA, which for some reason they put it on
It's
upside down.
Turn that right side up now, please.
They're a little too clever for the room. But anyway, This is also very, very popular. This is the largest brewery in Southern California, Escondido, 8th largest brewery in the United States. And what I respect about it is this was an early IPA. They were making this IPA since 1997, before the trend really hit, before it got popular. It is with Centennial, Chinook, and Columbus hops. A hoppy beer that led to a lot of other hoppy beers.
It did. You can see in this one's much more about the bitterness of the hops.
Much hoppier.
And it's, well, I don't know if it's hoppier, but it's more bitter, which I think there's a distinction between these
you're
two.
right, you're right.
So Stone's a pretty interesting company. Both of these breweries are independently owned. They don't have Big Brother, any big money coming in, although they're both fairly good-sized breweries.
I'll tell you one thing I learned about Stone when looking this up. They're really litigious. So they got the name Stone, right? It's a fine name. They sue anybody that uses the name Stone for anything. They sued Keystone Brewery.
Right.
Because I guess Keystone started emphasizing the word stone on the cans, so they sued them. They now have over 90 cases worldwide on the word stone or bastard, because they also use,
Right, arrogant bastard, which really should have been the flagship for this brewery.
You would think, but they just sue anybody. All right, so these go up against each other, two very fine, popular beers. I would order either. What's my winner?
The Bell's Two Hearted blew them out, actually, 65% to 35%.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so what, they make the Elite Eight now?
Yeah, that would be it, I think, yes. So
there you go.
It's pretty remarkable. Bell's Two Hearted it has turned into a phenomenon, and it's really, I mean, it's a great beer. So.
But they're a small company out of Michigan.
Yeah. So
and they've just figured out how to get out there and distribute.
This one beer is, well, you know, I don't even know if they're in every state in the country, but they certainly are very popular, and they do sell a lot of this beer. You know, I will tell you that I like a lot of other Bell beers as well. So it's not the only one they make.
All right. Speaking of great beers that are national and tremendous craft beers, got a fun idea for a topic, which is the first craft beer you fell in love with. When we come back, we're going to talk about those, and for old time's sake, crack open a few. We are at the Tannery Run Brew Works in Ambler. He's Joe Sixpack. By the way, find him on beer_radar on Twitter. I'm Glen Macnow, at Real Glen Macnow. The show, at What's Brewing. See you in a minute.
Hey Zoom World, I'm Marissa Magnotta.
And I'm Chill Moody. Look, breweries need our support now more than ever.
Many breweries offer delivery and takeout services.
And beer makes a great gift.
Go to visitphilly.com for more information.
It's time for spring seasonal beers and the easy drinking favorites at Conshohocken Brewing Company. There's something for everyone, whether it's the Blood Money Blood Orange IPA, the crushable Ring the Bell Unfiltered Pilsner, Life Coach Session IPA, or my favorite, MC5, a hazy hop bomb bursting with juicy flavor and aroma. Look for these and more at your favorite local beer retailer, or visit any Conshohocken Brewing Company location where you'll find safe, comfortable indoor and outdoor seating. I'll see you there. Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing from Tannery Run Brew Works in Ambler on Butler Ave. Joe Sixpack, Glen Macnow, and I am drinking, my friend, Magician's Satchel, which is a strawberry chocolate milkshake IPA. You?
This is the Weedy McWheatface.
Ooh, I like this.
This is a nice take on a German Hefeweizen, and you do get sort of that clovey, lemony flavor to it. Nice job.
Okay, so this kind of tells us how far craft brewing has come, right? That any kind of esoteric thing, any flavor, any, stouts and IPAs and whatever, sours, but it didn't start that way.
No,
and when
not.
it started, my friend, it started with this. Pretty much. And others.
Anchor Steam Beer.
Anchor Steam Beer. And I was inspired by a friend and a fan of the show named Jeff Martin, also has a podcast called Take a Shelfie. Give that a look. And he suggested we do an ode to the beers that got us into drinking craft beer. And I remember going out to San Francisco on vacation, I don't know, 25 years ago, whatever it was, and sitting on the dock on the pier, eating oysters and drinking this beer. You know what? I don't have an opener. Give me your opener.
Here's an opener.
Drinking this beer and thinking, this is as good as it's ever going to get.
That was a great beer to find. I mean, they were, basically the very first craft brewer in America. It's an old brewery, goes back to the 1800s, but it was Fritz Maytag of the Maytag washing machine family who revived that brewery in the 60s and said, I'm going to make this beer. And it took them forever, a lot of work to get it up and running. But by the mid-70s, early 70s, I'd say, the mid-70s, this beer started getting out there in the world, and people were absolutely floored.
And by standards of what we drink in craft beer now, it's fairly tame, but it does have a distinct flavor. It's called a California common beer. That's the style. We did a thing on the last episode about 174 different styles. This is one, and the steam I read, might be able to help me, is they had no way to chill the wort. So they basically, exposed it to the Atlantic Ocean, the breezes over the Atlantic Ocean, and that created a steam, so it's the anchor steam.
Yeah, there's been a lot of different suggestions of where that came from, but you know, the basic thing here is that this is a hybrid beer. It's sort of half ale, half lager, supposedly. I'm going to tell you that this tastes a lot more like a pale ale today to me than it does to that hybrid flavor. I think, to me, it might have
you
been.
think it's less lagery than it used to be?
Yeah, I think it is. It seems to have been dumbed down a little bit, frankly. I mean, it's an okay beer, but you know, given the variety of beers that are out there, and even Anchor themselves are making far more esoteric beers, this one I think is being left behind, unfortunately.
Oh no, I have such a loyalty to it.
I know.
This is my
I know.
friend. And you know who used to love this beer? Well, he was a rep for it. Andy Musser,
Yes.
the late Phillies announcer, was a craft beer guy who had gone out and I guess tasted it out west and ended up being kind of their representative here in the East.
He was the local. He and I used to go out drinking this together. We did a lot of Anchor events together over the years. Andy was a wonderful beer advocate, and he probably sold more of the Anchor of east of the Mississippi than any person alive.
Yeah,
So,
how about that?
he was something else.
So, and there, you know, others that I remember from the early days. Well, Sam Adams, I guess that doesn't go back that far, but they were one of the early ones to do it. Sierra Nevada was one of the early ones. Locally, certainly Yards gets a big nod for that. Weyerbacher. Any others that you think of, like, you know, they started at the beginning and they're still here?
Well, I go back a little bit before that, although not, you know, back into the early 80s, I would say. Yards didn't come around until the 90s and those other ones. But in the early 80s, there was just a very few of the American craft companies, but there was something that really cool happened. Was a company out in Seattle called Merchant to Van started importing beers from Europe. These were lost styles of beer that Michael Jackson, the wonderful beer writer, the British beer writer, had written about. And Samuel Smith's Brewery in England recreated one of the beers that he said that was lost, which was a porter beer. And the one I'm talking about specifically is the Samuel Smith's.
I love the gold foil because it's Samuel Smith's Nut Brown, as I used to drink
exactly.
some of that.
That was another one. This
Yeah.
was their Tatty Porter. Give me that opener again there, Glenn. Now this beer, I remember coming across this while driving through South Jersey near Princeton, and I went into a liquor store and I saw this in a cooler, and it was marked, and this is around 1983, it was marked at $10 for a six-pack, which I thought,
Oh, back
there's
then.
no way in the world that a six-pack could cost $10.
Now you paid that much for one bottle.
Exactly, but I had to buy it because I thought, man, $10 for
Oh,
a
that's
beer, it's got to be
that's
something
a whole
else.
That's a whole different thing.
Cheers, look at that nice creamy head on that. Now this beer, it's hard to believe, was almost gone. It was extinct. I mean, we had Yingling Porter around here, but this is more of an authentic British style porter.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with this beer, and I think
Yeah.
that really got me going on craft beer.
I get it. So this has been around for a while, and they're still making it, and they're still selling it.
They still make it. They still sell it. It's got that deep roastiness to it. There are other porters out there these days that I would put right up there with it. The Edmund Fitzgerald from Cleveland, Great Lakes,
Great
I think actually is a better porter than this, to be honest with you. But this is a really, really nice beer.
You know, we keep moving on to new styles and new flavors and new technology and new hops and so on, but every once in a while it's nice to catch up with an old friend, even if you don't think my old friend has it like he used to.
Well, you know, here's the thing, Glenn.
Sorry, pal.
Our palates change. Maybe I'm looking more from a beer than that one anymore.
I
So.
guess. But again, I was on the dock in San Francisco eating oysters, watching seals outside play. Yeah, we had some good times, buddy. Anyway, all right, speaking of good times, Joe Sixpack says they're coming back. New places opening. It's going to be a good summer. We'll tell you more about that coming up from the Tannery Run Brew Works in Ambler. Joe Sixpack, Glen Macnow on What's Brewing.
It's a place that inspires the dreamers, the overachievers. A place for those who follow the path, as well as the ones who blaze them. So whether you want to go with the flow or rise above it all, visit Bucks County and be inspired.
Hey, welcome back. Joe Sixpack, Glen Macnow at the Tannery Run Brewworks in Ambler. They're part of the Monco Makers, a series of great breweries all across Montgomery County. Check them all out. One better than the other. And I mean, look at that. Is that a thing of beauty?
It is. A lot of good breweries happening in Montgomery County.
All right, and a lot of good news. You say, let's get to it.
Yeah. Well, the biggest news is that Pennsylvania is beginning to loosen some of its pandemic restrictions at bars. Next week, April 4th, alcohol service will be allowed. I don't think you're going to need to have food anymore.
Yeah,
so
you don't have to buy the food.
Right. So
some places don't have to sell you cheap pretzels in order to sell you beer.
exactly.
Right.
So that's a big thing for bars.
Sure.
And also there's going to be an increase in the indoor capacity. So things are starting to look up there.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, there's been a lot of openings lately, and I wanted to get to a few of them. The big one I think that people have been talking about is two locals. They've just produced their first beer. It's Philadelphia's first black-owned brewery. The beer is being made at Mainstay Brewery on Delaware Avenue.
And by the
this
way,
is great
easy to
news.
find. I went to 2 beer stores. They had it at both. So
Yeah.
it's, they're getting them out there.
That's great. That's the Nubian Brown Ale, one of, I think, 2 or 3 beers that are out on the market. So
Nice.
that's wonderful news. Iron Hill opened up its production facility in Exton. I think it was I think it was earlier this year. They are brewing beer and getting it out there and in the stores. And I think it's about time because nobody's won more medals for their beers than Iron Hill. They are really good breweries, and I think it's fantastic that we're going to be able to see those beers by can. Maybe they'll be in some of the bars and restaurants as well. So that's good news. A couple other new breweries. East Greenville, Montgomery County, Simple Days Brewery is up and running now. In Westchester, Wrong Crowd Beer Brewing is up.
I want to hang out
I
there.
love that. You have a can of theirs. It's their Sippy Angels.
Oh, yeah, here you go. Yeah, Happy Blonde Ale.
So that's getting out there.
Wrong Crowd's a good
now
name.
open in Westchester. And also in Westchester, Artillery Brewing is opening up a tap room later in April. Finally, 2 other smaller places, Rebel Hill and Phoenixville, another one of the Phoenixville breweries. They're opening up a second location in Montclair at Lock 29. And finally, Brothers Kirshner Brewing in Skippack is going to be opening up a beer garden at Brandywine Outfitters Riverside Park over in Coatesville. So
What's the name?
that's going to be
Brothers what?
Brothers Kirshner.
My wife's boyfriend before me was named Kirshner.
Well, see if you can hit him up for some beer.
I don't think so. I don't believe I will. All right. We had a great social media question this week, which was, once the pandemic is done, or once you get your shots, you and I have both been vaccinated, what's the one place you're dying to get out to and the one beer you're dying to have? What about you? You go first.
All right. Well, Mrs. Sixpack hasn't been vaccinated yet, so she's just a baby, and so I can't wait to be able to go out with her because she's my favorite beer drinking partner. And really, I want to go to a bar, any bar really, but the one I have in mind is the Dawson Street Pub in Manayunk.
Yeah, good place.
Dark, small place,
yeah.
lots of friends.
Yeah, good
Usually
dive
the
bar.
Phillies are on TV, great fries, wonderful beer, the Rolling Stones on the jukebox, and Dave Wilby, the owner, pouring me a fresh cask conditioned Yards ESA. I have it in mind. I really want to be there.
For me, I want a draft beer. I mean, I'm having one today, which is great. It's like I've been living in my house, drinking out of cans. Cans are great. I want somebody to just draw me a beer and sit at a bar surrounded by guys. I may not even know the guys, with a game on, just talking to the next guy in the next bar stool, drinking a draft beer. That's what I want.
It's a great image, Glenn. And the thing is, we talk about going to places with our friends, but one of the things we're really missing is strangers.
Absolutely.
People we don't know.
Just sit at the bar and talk to people over there. Can you believe that guy, he's still
Right.
pitching?
Right.
Where's the manager?
Exactly.
Yes, I want that. All right, let me give you some of our favorite ones I got. Mike P. Jazz says, I want to go to the Iron Abbey. Then I want to do the York Beer Trail as shown on your show, which is nice.
It is, and I should mention too that the York Beer Trail is up and running with a virtual version of their trail for now. Hopefully they'll be back up and running, but you should go to their
Yeah, we
website.
had a good time with them.
Yeah.
Learned League Martin says, and I appreciate it, I'm walking into the town tap in Havertown. Okay, but I like his logic. He said, I'm going to order a half pour of MC5, then a half pour of Life Coach, I've missed the ability to sit at a bar and have smaller portions of multiple beers.
Right.
Right. You're not doing this at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that was a good one. Double Wing, got my second shot, or getting my second shot April 5th. Looking forward to new Tonewood Brewery. Tonewood's got a new brewery?
Yes, they did. They moved a short distance away, and it looks like a nice place. I can't wait to go check it out as well.
You'll meet Double Wing there.
Yeah.
Matthew Massari, I miss being a regular at the local Whole Foods sampling. At the local Whole Foods, sampling whatever was on tap, and I was supposed to be grocery shopping, and really looking forward to my first trip back to Linvilla Orchards, sipping on a draft ship-bottom Mexican stout while tossing some cornhole.
There we go.
Right? Good time. Hobie Wagner, I've spent most of my stimmy money already on takeout Levante Brewing. Good work.
Yes,
helping the economy. Bob Strecker, Pliny the Elder at Khyber Pass.
Wow, that would be another good local place and great beer selection. I can't wait to get back to some of these places.
Rich Henderson, Thursday marks 2 weeks past the second shot for me. I'm delighted everybody's getting vaccine. I haven't been to the Blue Monkey Tavern in Merchantville in too long. Funny, all the things you took for granted. I used to be a regular, now I got 3 kids. And finally, Luke Gentlesk, I hope I said it right, Luke. I'm going back to Harry's Tap Room. Then I'll go there again the next week, and then the week after that, and then the week after that. We miss it.
Back to our routines.
Yeah, we miss it. All right, coming up, we're going to talk to Carly, who runs this here place. We're delighted to be at the Tannery Run Brew Works here in beautiful Ambler. Joe Sixpack, Glen Macnow. What's Brew?
They're not just familiar faces, they're your friends and neighbors. It's their small businesses, a beating heart that makes a neighborhood a home, where personality is served on a plate and imagination paints a brighter world. A place where fresh is always in stock with a personal touch passed down through generations. Support small and make a big difference. Make it local. Make it Main Street. Make it Montco.
The Craft Beer Trail of Greater Philadelphia. 5 counties, over 90 breweries, and over 1,000 beers. Sip your way through it, one beer at a time.
Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing from the Tannery Run Brew Works in Ambler with Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow, and we are joined by Carly Shellder, who is the handler, co-owner, brains behind this operation, along with Tim Brown, former great NFL player. Different Tim Brown?
Different Tim Brown.
Okay, who's the master brewer and part owner. Anyway, we're delighted to be here.
Thank
What are
you.
you drinking?
I am drinking the Canyon Crate Dragon on Nitro. This is our session IPA. It's quite delicious.
Cheers. That's this one here.
Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah, really smooth. I don't think I've ever had a session beer on Nitro.
Really?
Makes a lot of sense.
It does. It tastes great. This is the second session we've done on Nitro, and first time round, it went very quickly. So
Nitro is the style of carbonation.
Yes.
Smaller bubbles, smoother drinking. So.
Yes, it usually takes longer to pour. So when you first pour it, it will be like half bubbles, but then
Right.
as time goes by, you'll see it separate into a beautiful creamy head.
Like a Guinness.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
but an IPA.
Let's talk about how you guys got started. I know it was, everybody's had a rough year. You started 1 year almost to the date before the pandemic, so I'm guessing you're getting a lot of momentum then. In the first year, you got a great location here on Butler
We really
Ave.
do.
And then things kind of got tough last year.
Yes, so we were gearing up to celebrate our first year in business, our 1 year anniversary, with a giant Dragon's Day celebration when, global pandemic hits.
Yeah.
We have to shift immediately, cancel the celebration, and over that first weekend, we put up online ordering. We didn't have that before. We made it so we could do delivery in the area. So we've had to pivot quite a few times since then.
Okay, but you're right on the main drag here
We
in
sure
Ambler,
are.
so it's a good stopping place if you're in town here.
Absolutely.
But also, you're canning your beers, if we see them here, and that's being
Yes.
distributed around the Philadelphia region.
That's right. So this past year, we also started self-distribution. So in select bottle shops in the area, you will find some of our splash packs and
Tell me your what?
splash packs. So we'll talk about splash in just a moment.
Tell us right now
I don't know that.
what are splash
Okay.
packs?
So a splash pack is, well, before we get to the pack, let's talk about a splash. This is how we differentiate ourselves from everybody else. We do splash brewing, split batch. So basically, 2 sister beers come out of the same base. Sometimes they're more similar, sometimes they're quite different.
What you're doing is brewing one wort, and then you will ferment it or hop it differently, the 2 different batches.
That's
within it.
right. So there are 4 main areas along the brew where we can split it, depending on what we're trying to do, but they do finish separately.
But it's a great way because you're a 10-barrel brewery.
We're a
here?
7-barrel.
Oh, 7-barrel. So, but that way you get to double the number of beers that you can produce at any time.
It's an efficient method for us to offer a wide variety.
So, and then you do the 6-packs or the 4-packs by what, marrying those splashes?
Sometimes. We're still new to the self-distribution, and most of our 4-packs are just the one side, but if you are lucky to get both sides, it's a splash pack.
This does happen to be the last week of Women's History Month, and we love the fact that you and women are more involved in brewing. In fact, your outfit speaks to it.
Yes.
That's the Pink Boots
The
Society.
Pink Boots
I want you to
Society.
know I'm a kind of an adjunct member of the Pink Boots Society. They let me. Joe Sixpack, most comfortable slippers I've ever owned.
There you go.
They're the greatest.
Thank you for your support.
Anyway, you bet. It does seem it's a very positive trend that more women are getting involved in brewing. I think you started with a scholarship, is that correct?
Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about the Pink Boots Society. It's an international nonprofit organization that was born to educate and inspire other women in the beer industry. Now, we're lucky because last year they opened up to include spirits, ciders, women in sake, any of the fermentable beverages. So we've opened up a little bit since then, but one of the best parts is that every month there are different scholarships for the members. So I applied for a scholarship, I won, I completed all of my requirements, and then at the end of that, I got my very own pair of steel-toed pink boots.
I think they're great.
Yeah, I love
I
them.
would wear those every day. In
They're
fact,
a little clunky,
again,
but
I do.
You do.
Carly, before we let you go, just kind of tell us plans moving ahead.
Well, I would like to let you know that we just brewed our Pink Boots collaboration beer of the year. So it's a collaboration with Deer Creek Malt House and Boardroom Spirits. So that's coming out. You'll see some exciting changes in here in the brew pub itself. So we're looking forward to a grand reopening sometime in April.
Okay, not long after this show
Exactly.
airs, but we're excited about that because this is really a great spot right here on
you.
Butler Avenue in Ambler. Make sure you come out here because a lot of good stuff happening here.
Thank you, Carly. Visit all the Monco Makers breweries, and we've had a great time here today at Tannery Run. We'll see you next week on What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Monco Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Download the app. By Visit Bucks County. We are open. Travel responsibly. Follow the Bucks County Ale Trail. Go to visitbuckscounty.com/ale trail to get your passport. By the Craft Beer Trail of Greater Philadelphia. 5 counties, 90+ breweries, and 1,000+ beers. And by Conshohocken Brewing Company, now shipping beer to all of Pennsylvania at ConchiExpress.com.